Welcome back to the Kiosk Presents. My guest today is Dr. Paul McKenna. He's a world-renowned self-help expert and hypnotist, and his new book is Hypnotic Gastric Band. Dr. Paul McKenna, welcome to the Kiosk Presents.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I have to admit, when I first read the premise of the book and started paging through it, I thought, oh, you gotta be kidding me. A hypnotic gastric band? I'm sure you probably get that quite a bit.
Well, do you know, when this was first put to me by one of the leading experts in obesity in England, I said, look, this has got to be a gimmick. And, you know, when a leading medical and scientific researcher tells you it isn't, you know, you take it seriously. So I did an experiment. In fact, we featured it on the Dr. Oz show, and it worked incredibly well. So I started researching this, and I found that it's extraordinary. When you use the book, it explains how it works, but it's the CD, that's the self-hypnosis CD, that hypnotizes you. So you know you haven't had the operation, but your body and mind respond as though you have. So suddenly you start eating less, leaving food on your plate, and not feeling like you're missing out. And the reason that that works is because the mind is a bit like a computer. All your decisions about food take place in the mind, and we're using some self-hypnosis to reprogram it.
And it was really quite amazing. In the book, you talk about even, because you filmed some of the experiments, and even the camera people and the people who were witnessing it, not taking part in the experiment, but people who were just watching, also started to notice they were losing weight and enjoying their food more.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I suppose most people that we've talked to were skeptical about this, and you know, I think it's good to be skeptical because you want to question things. But if you think about it, the operation costs about $10,000. There are health risks. This costs a few dollars, and the chances of it working are high. Now, of course, nothing works for everyone every time, but diets work for 1 in 10 people. My success rate is 7.
Wow. And this has a lot less side effects than the actual gastric band surgery.
Yes, I mean, I think that's a very good point. You know, if you are going to have the surgery, there are risks. With this, it's very simple. It's relaxing, it's enjoyable. You know, it's very simple to follow. There's no willpower, there's no calorie counting, none of that. In fact, people say that it almost feels like something's clicked in their brain, you know, that they just suddenly feel different about food. They start leaving food on their plate. They don't feel like they're missing out.
Weight loss tends to be one of the most popular New Year's resolutions, but by the end of January, where we're heading right now, people tend to give it up. Why do people end up giving up their resolutions to lose weight?
Well, because diets don't work, because they're based on starving yourself. And what happens is, if you starve, you will end up binging. In fact, the real worrying statistic is 70% of people put on more weight when they come off a diet than before they went on it, because they've slowed their metabolism. And you know, a lot of people also join a gym, and by the 3rd week of January, as you quite rightly say, have given up because, you know, they feel uncomfortable, they've set the bar too high. Basically, any movement of your body whatsoever counts as exercise. So I encourage people just to walk a bit more. You know, the difference between a naturally thin person and someone who's overweight is 2,000 steps a day. 2,000 steps? It's a 15-minute walk. Walk a minute here, there, everywhere for the next few days, and suddenly you'll speed up your metabolism.
What are the 4 golden rules to weight loss?
Well, for people who are skeptical about the hypnosis, I've put some behavioral changes in the book. Yale University recently concluded that weight loss is a behavioral issue. So rule number 1 is, when you're truly hungry, go and eat. Tell your body that there's always enough food so it won't slow metabolism. Now, if you're emotionally hungry, you want to eat because you're stressed, lonely, or bored, then use the DVD in the book to calm yourself down. Rule number 2 is eat what you want, not what you think you should, because we all know as soon as you make a food forbidden, it becomes all you can think about. But people say, hey, I'll be out of control if I eat just anything I want. Now, if you use rule number 3, that's very unlikely, because I get you to eat consciously. That means really, really slowly. Put the knife and fork down. Focus on the food and nothing else. Look, if you eat and watch TV, you will eat significantly more. If you eat and are on the internet, you will eat more. So by getting rid of those distractions, you're able to hear the signal that says you're full.
Well, fantastic. So much great advice and a really interesting approach in Dr. Paul McKenna's book, Hypnotic Gastric Band. Dr. McKenna, thank you so much for joining us here on the Kiosk Presents in Buffalo and Western New York.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.